Hey, I'm Larkin Grisani, and this is Cooking with Larkin. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to butcher a whole unpeeled beef tenderloin. This is going to be good. Stick with us. All right, so as you can see, we have an absolutely beautiful 8-pound beef tenderloin. We picked this up from our local butcher today, and as I said in the intro, this is unpeeled. It has the fat, it has the silver skin on it. So we got to do a little butchering to get it right. Now, let's talk about the tenderloin. Where does it come from? It comes from up under the rib cage by the backbone, all right? This is very lean meat, not a lot of fat in it once we get it trimmed. Beautiful, tender cut. We're so used to eating filet mignon or all of us roasting these whole tenderloins, but I love getting a whole one myself and cleaning it up. It's cheaper that way, okay? And with a few simple steps, you'll be doing it as well. So let's talk about it. We really have 4 sections of this tenderloin. Down here we have what you would call the tail, all right? Up here, right here in the center, I like to refer to it as the barrel, okay? Along this line, as you'll see in a minute, I'll break this down that goes all the way down. This is your chain, all right? We're gonna remove that chain, but there's a lot of good meat inside there that we wanna save. So we're gonna trim that chain off and then we're gonna clean it up. All right, and last but not least, we have the head, the butt, a lot of different terms for it. So we have 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, and 4, all right? So let's get going. First things first, we have 2 styles of knives for this. We have a chef's knife, and we have a little bit of a boning knife, all right? I'll use the chef knife to make up the longer cuts, bigger cuts, but I'll use this boning knife when it comes time to remove this silver skin and a little bit of that connective tissue where we kind of have to get in tight there, all right? So let's get going. All right, I'm gonna straighten this out. This is a big old tenderloin. I think this was 8 pounds. I'm gonna straighten this out as much as I can, and on that side, like I said, don't be worried about using your fingers, all right? You can see that little gap in there, all right? And we are going to begin to take our chain off of this tenderloin, okay? It peels right down. If you get any spots there, you can see it. You can see we're starting to peel that chain away. And here you can actually see our barrel of our tenderloin being exposed. So let's continue working that down, and it will go very simply all the way down to the tail, okay? All right, so now what we want to do is lean your knife right up against that barrel. We don't want to cut off any of that barrel meat. Lean your knife right up in there and just make some nice solid cuts. All right, and that chain will begin to pull away. As you can see, look at that barrel being exposed of this. This is a beautiful tenderloin. All right, now we're going to take this all the way up through the top. And there you go. In about a minute, we got the chain of the tenderloin off. Now, this is what I'm talking about. There is still some beautiful meat on this chain that we are going to clean up in a little bit, and we are going to cube. We can save it for stews, braised meat, all kinds of stuff. All right, so I'm going to set that to the side in my little bowl. All right, and now we're going to begin working on some of this silver skin. You do not want to leave that silver skin on your tenderloin, okay? You see some areas of this fat, you can begin to pull it off, but this is where we want to use our boning knife. We want to be very delicate. Start up here at the top, slide your boning knife just underneath that silver skin. You can use your finger to kind of lift it up, and when you go to make your cut, don't have your knife blade down, have it up. And we run that knife straight down. All right, and then once you get a stop, pull it a little tight, the opposite way, and we can take that silver skin right off. You do not want to eat that silver skin. So let's go again here. Knife under, blade a little bit up. We can run all the way down there. Remember, folks, a good sharp knife is key to this process, okay? So let's turn her over. All right, now we're going to start right here. See if we can get a good wide one. We're going to go all the way down and out. There we go. Knife blade up. run it all the way up to the head, pull it back, and there we go. That silver skin's coming off nice. Remember, you're not going to get every last bit of it, and that's fine. All right? But we're going to take a second and trim here. Back towards that tail. A lot of that tail fat will just pull right off. But I'm going to show you in a minute what we're going to do with the tail, because we're going to roast this tenderloin tonight. We're going to do it here on this big green egg. But I'm really going to focus on the barrel section of the tenderloin. The tail I'm going to trim off just a little bit, and I'm going to save that for other ingredients, other cooks. Because what happens is sometimes when you roast the whole tenderloin, that tail tends to get overdone. So we want to save that for something else and really focus on this barrel, okay? So we've got the majority of that silver skin off, as you can see. We're going to make a couple more little cuts, okay? And this is an interesting part. And I've got my producer here, Asher, with me. Asher, can you see the little fat that's up in there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we want to do is, a lot of times people will leave this whole piece together, all right? It's kind of like the chain, all right? But I'm going to remove that, all right? So I'm going to go down in here and right in this crease, look at that. I'm going to slide my knife right down, nice sharp knife. And I'm going to pull that part of that butt or that head off of this tenderloin. Little trim here. And I'm going to save this beautiful piece of meat, okay? This can be used as a roast. This could go in your slow cooker. There's so many options with it. So it's going to become part of our little trim. If you got a little, you know, husband and wife dinner, this is a perfect little piece of meat. We could go in, trim off a little bit more of that silver skin, but save it for a beautiful cut, all right? I'm going to set that aside. Now, when we removed that, you can see that we had a little bit more silver skin exposed. So we're going to go through our process and remove that. So now let's focus on this tail. Like I said, I'm not interested in this tail right now for this cook tonight, so I want to remove it. So this is, like I said, a very big tenderloin. So I'm going to come up till it really starts to thicken. I'm going to say about right there, okay? I'm going to make my cut. I'm going to remove that part. All right, and this is what's left on our tail. This is the back side. So before I get rid of this, I'm going to go ahead and just trim some of that little fat off. It comes off nice and easy. Slide that knife down. This is going to be part of our scrap pile that we're going to save to make stews and other items. We're going to remove that right off there. Just a little trim. And folks, we've got another beautiful little cut to use in so many different ways. Okay? Now, you can see we've kind of trimmed our tail up to a thicker part, and you can see where this tenderloin comes up and begins to taper down up here at the head. So we're going to do the same process. Remember, I wanted the barrel for tonight. Okay? Another beautiful cut. That's the great thing about cleaning your own tenderloin, is that you may be a little intimidated or may say, I don't want to pay that much money for it, but there's so many cooks you could get off this tenderloin, trimming it yourself. It makes it worth it. There are multiple dinners involved here, okay? Not just grilling fillets. All right, so we've got a beautiful barrel tender here. All right, a lot of times maybe they call this a Chateaubriand, center cut. So I really like that. We've got a little trim here that I want to do. So I'm just going to take my knife, follow that edge, and remove some of that. You can see we got a little bit more there. Run it straight down. Once again, we're not getting rid of it. You imagine slow cooking that, letting it shred, making some tacos. That would be wonderful. Let's get this last little bit of silver skin here. All right, now we've got to come to our back side here. Okay, we've got our center barrel. We've adjusted or butchered up at the butt, the head, the tail. Now we want to come in, be very delicate, because this is where we don't want to start getting any waste on our butchering. Be careful with that knife. Blade always up. so you're not cutting down into the meat. All right, we're gonna remove, see, you can see that. We'll end up trimming that because there's still some nice meat in there, and we'll show you that in just a second. But let's go back in, remove our silver skin. It pulls away just beautifully. This boning knife comes in so handy, and make sure it's sharp. It glides through like butter when it's nice and sharp. This is looking fantastic. One last little trim here. And folks, I am super pleased with that. And I would say that in about 10 minutes, we have an absolutely gorgeous barrel beef tenderloin trimmed. It is ready to be seasoned, go on this great green egg. We're gonna sear the outside and then do a little indirect cooking with it. And then we're gonna let it set, relax, and we're gonna put some gorgeous gorgonzola cream over it when we're done, all right? Now, let's take a second and I wanna show you what we do with our scrap meat, okay? I want you to think we're wasting that. So we're gonna bring our bowl back over. All right, and we have got this gorgeous meat here. And what I like to do is, I just like to take it and cut it into nice cubes. I've had some people asking me about beef stew, things like that. I mean, you make beef stew out of this style meat, your family is gonna be super pleased. You make chili out of this, the options are endless. Now, the thing you can remember is, it doesn't have to be super trimmed because you're probably gonna be slow roasting it in a chili or in a stew. So a lot of that fat and connective tissue would break down, all right? Even these thin pieces, I love that little bit of fat in there, all right? That's flavor. So we just cut that in half, all right? Now, we did have this large roast here that I put there at the head. I want to take a little bit of that silver skin off. Okay, but this baby, I'm leaving that whole, all right? I'm not gonna mess with it. So, last but not least, and we do have a little more scrap in there, but I want to show you, here was a piece here. That one was a little bit rough, but what we could do is get our knife, get in there, carve out a few pieces, all right? Little piece there. So here was our chain, all right? This was the chain that was on the side of the tenderloin. It came off, we peeled it off with our finger. It's got a lot of fat, a lot of connective tissue, but it also has some beautiful meat on it, all right? So what we can do is, and we don't want any of that to go to waste. So to make it a little bit easier to see, I'm gonna work in two sections here. I'm gonna take that chain, and Asher, can we see this?
Yes, sir.
We've got some gorgeous meat right in here. So we can kind of pinch up, run that knife down. All right, and just take your time here. I've been doing this a while, so I may be a little bit quicker, but we're gonna take and trim some of that chain meat. Look at that, cube it up. Even there, we got just a little bit we don't want to waste. Carve around there. Boom, one section done. Got a little bit more in here. This is where I would kind of come in with my knife and kind of make a cut to peel it out. All right, I can trim up a little bit more of that later. All right, let's get our, and I'm only showing you this because I want to show you how much meat you can have if you buy your own tenderloin and butcher it yourself. This was the other half of the chain. All right, we're gonna cut it into a little section here. Got a little fatty bit there, but look how easily it removes. All right, boom, boom. All right, let's do one more cut. See if we got, oh, there's a good section right in there. Run down, do your knife, peel it apart, and we're good to go. All right, so let me get a little wipe here, clean our knife. All right, and folks, let me show you what we got. In the span of about 15 minutes, we have a beautiful center barrel tenderloin, top, bottom. All right, that could feed 6, 7, 8 people because we're gonna roast it and slice it. If I wanted to make fillets, I could come in here now and do little cuts, and you've got gorgeous fillets, but we're gonna roast it whole and slice it. We've got up at the head, the butt. We've got on the side, we've got a beautiful little roast here that we can use. We could slow cook, braise it, make a little roast, pot roast, throw some potatoes, it'd be fantastic. And at the end of the day, we have some gorgeous scrap meat for stew, for chili, just wonderful. So in buying our own tenderloin and butchering it ourselves, we've created what could be 3 to 4 nights worth of dinners. Hey, thanks for joining us today on Cooking with Larkin. We had a great time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification so you see when we release all the videos. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Cooking with Larkin. Have a great day.